How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm going to go and do a mission on this Expeditions game. This one's called Ancient Fire. To be honest, relatively simple. You can kind of see from the square, it sort of shows you an overview of the full map, even though I haven't explored the full map, and you can kind of see the yellow dots explaining where it wants you to go. In the end, I took the Cotco Canyon, the TUZ Action, and then I had to hire, which one was that? I think it was a hydrologist for this one. And I also hire, I just generally do now, the manager, what's her name, Zimbabwe Aardvark or whatever, hire her, and you just get more money every time. Like, you quit to the headquarters, everything you've got, it just sells for more money, really. And unless you're like just quickly going on a map and doing not a lot, then she tends to pay for herself. Like, if you just get an airdrop or two, and sometimes some of these missions you got to do, you collect stuff as well. I know one mission was like a piece of quartz that was selling for about 7 grand. I think you'd end up getting about 11 grand for it if you had that aardvark woman. Yeah, just driving along now, stuck on something, it ended up being like a stupid little bush. I run about 20 of them over a minute. But that one was not taking it. Yeah, as long as it doesn't happen too often. But it has happened to me before, every now and then in the SnowRunner. Obviously, yeah, pretty similar games. Although still, as I'm sort of on this game, I don't really, get why they changed the menu and everything. The only conclusion I can really come to is they needed the game to be different enough from SnowRunner to justify charging full price as like a separate game, but then to achieve that they've just sort of made certain things objectively worse just so they're different. But yeah, in all honesty, I'd rather they just, for the most part, stuck with the SnowRunner concept. And yeah, I still would have been fine paying full price because it's a new game. It is what it is. But yeah, so the menus are a little bit iffy, to say the least. Stupid drone as well. They've done a patch, and do you know what, I didn't even try it in this video because I've just sort of got used to not being able to now after a while. But they've added horns, and there was something else I noticed as well that I've forgotten now. Yeah, I've not played this much the last couple of days. Like, I've felt pretty ill this entire week. I don't know why, I just feel like pretty sort of sick and ill. Like, keep feeling like I want to be sick. Yeah, so that's why I didn't do the live stream in the end. I'd got all the games set up and everything ready to go, but yeah, I'd sort of, it's awkward being in that position where you're on live stream and it's like, oh god, I feel like I'm I'm gonna drop or something. Yeah, this part of the drone thing I think is pretty boring and stupid. Going to, like, for example, the reaction time of the drone to steer it and everything is so horrifically slow, and I'm assuming at least a good portion of the reason why that is for these little mini games, which is not the end of the world. This one's a bit boring and repetitive. I don't mind the ones where you got to stop the bar kind of in the little brackets that it tells you. I also had one earlier. I had to scan some fish, and that one really didn't make sense because it says scan the fish, and you've got like an overview of, say, a bit of water, and there's fish swimming around. But they're swimming around, so the places that you scan, the fish don't even stay there anyway. And yeah, it doesn't even really fully explain. Like, I just kept clicking. The first time it said I failed because I didn't scan enough fish, even though there's only about 3 fish swimming around. And I'd scanned at least one of them multiple times. And then I had a second go, and I just scanned pretty much the same areas, same fish. And then it said, good for me. I'd won. I'd completed that step of fish scanning. Which, yeah, maybe because it told me I'd failed the first time, I had more of a vested interest in passing that little fish mission. But yeah, this game has like a bit of an identity crisis. It's weird. On the one hand, it's more nuanced and detailed, and I'd say, strictly speaking, more difficult, but I only mean that in the sense of if you're trying to go from A to B, the maps, you know, there's no roads really on here or anything, so it's probably more in line with like Northern Aegis installation. Even that's got some roads, but it's pretty few and far between. But then on the other hand, some of the missions are like, yeah, drive over here, which is, you know, like 10, 20 truck lengths away, and it's like little checkpoints. Then you've got like those fish mini games and all that. Yeah, and it's sort of like, on the one hand it feels like a more adult version of SnowRunner, and on the other hand it feels like a kid's version of SnowRunner. And it's, yeah, it's kind of like a weird combination. Oh, there goes the obligatory ambulance flying past as I'm recording. I swear they just wait down the road. They're like, yep, go, go, go. He's on the mic. Tree stumps. I found a massive fat tree stump somewhere. You can see there is a few different ones in this game. They're all annoying and you'll probably get stuck on them. At least it seems to be, so far at least, a bit easier to spot on this game. In SnowRunner they seem to have a habit in the more recent phases to like stash them in the middle of a bush and all sorts, so you're just driving along, you don't really have any real hope of seeing one. This game feels slower paced in general. You can see now, like, I'm driving along, I'm in high gear, but the auto doesn't seem too keen about it either. It's going to be a similar thing where for the majority of the time I'm going to use trucks if I can, because the high gear, if anything, is just quicker. Yeah, drove over to this location. It says to scan the area. Long story short, yeah, because I nearly keep forgetting myself. Do a 360 with the binoculars. A little tip for them: if you just point them up into the sky, it tends to rotate quicker. For some reason, when you're looking like through the land, so to speak, it can sense objects and things in the background, even if you can't see them. But it just automatically like slows them down, as if, I don't know, to help you more accurately like land on whatever it is you're looking at. Yeah, but if you just point it in the air and spin around, like, it tends to go a lot quicker. Yeah, so I scanned the area. The last little place, I got to like 97% or whatever it was, and it just couldn't quite see the top of this ridge without the with the binoculars, so I had to send in the stupid drone. Although, whoever I had to hire for this mission, it's the one that must make the drone be able to go further, because I was able to go 280 meters and 50 meters high instead of the limitation. I think on the just stock drone it's like 80 meter limit and 30 meters high also. Yeah, and I'm now driving up the mountainy bit that I just flew the drone over. This was my cock up, really. That's what she said. For one, it was understeering like a beast, so I started flying down here. But yeah, as you can see on the map, the yellow square thing is pointing over there, which I only just realised now. I think just because I had a blue way marker thing up here, I just started driving towards it, didn't even really think until I got to about the top. I will say though, these yellow squares that you can see, like where it's telling me where to go next, I don't know if they're like semi-transparent or whatever's going on. They don't feel like they show up as easily as they do on SnowRunner. I kind of half the time I'm flicking around thinking where the hell is it? Yeah, so it just wants me to go up this side of the mountain. Like, I'm hoping at some point the missions get a little bit more, I don't know, complicated or detailed, and so far it's pretty kind of basic, just drive to here, then here, then here. It's sort of funny in a way, because if you think, like, even with MudRunner and SnowRunner, back when they did MudRunner was basically like off-road vehicles, an off-road map, and then obviously, because you can't really sort of call it a complete game if you just say here's a map and here's some trucks. So it was like, oh, we've added login just as an excuse to make you have to go from A to B, and there's nothing wrong with that. It kind of then made it a bit of a game where, like, really you're just testing out like the fact that it's an off-roading game and it's quite intricate with like deformable terrain and all the rest of it. But strictly speaking, and it's nothing against login missions, because I actually like them even in SnowRunner, but you know what I mean, they added login just as an afterthought to kind of tie the game together. And yeah, in general, like even with SnowRunner, they've obviously expanded the amount of cargo, or types I should say. Like, you've got login, but then you've got all the other cargo. And yeah, it's funny how like important that is to the game, really, because this game is essentially missing like the cargo element really up to now. There may be things in the future where it's, you know, like you go to a airdrop and it'll say collect this box and drive it over there, but yeah, it's the element of actually like picking up cargo and moving it from A to B, and that even on SnowRunner is, yeah, kind of adds more to the game than you'd think in a way. But anyway, we did that to do some little mini-game thing to look at an ancient fire. I did this one though, I unlocked a roof rack for something, it hasn't actually told me what yet, and a northern outpost, which is what I ended up travelling to, and when I did the fish mini-game. Yeah, you can see there, when I went to cash out, it ends in like $36, so I just quickly used up 3 more anchors to get it to a nice rounded number. I believe at some point though, I drove over to an airdrop, so I also got some quartz and sold it for a bit more. But yeah, that's that one in the bag. That's about it for today. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope it helps. Thanks for watching. Get yourself a loaf because he's a whopper. And I'll be back soon.